Oh, but I thought you weren't gonna make any more Amberlynn Reid videos after your last video talking about how boring she was and how uninteresting she was. Well, excuse me, I didn't know that Destiny was gonna come out and spill a bunch of tea about her, alright? I couldn't have foreseen this happening, especially since they dated through part of 2016, I think, or all of 2016, and it's been so many years. She dated Dana for a long time, and now I think she's dating somebody else. So it's like, there have just been lots of cycles I've gone through. Why now? Why talk about it now? I don't really know. I don't know what her motive is. It doesn't seem like it's a nefarious one necessarily, but it is a bit odd, the timing. I just don't get it. However, this will probably be beneficial for Amberlynn because her views are down, her watch rate's down, nobody really cares because all she does is show new soap dispensers and pans that she bought from Five Below. So it's like, who really cares? Nobody wants to watch any of that stuff, so now maybe she'll make an infamous reaction video to this stuff, and in general, I would say it's not super damning stuff. It's not crazy. We're not about to find out that Amberlynn was a serial killer when they were living in Kentucky. That never happened, but there are some interesting little tidbits that I want to nibble on a little bit, have a little discussion about, and so I thought that's what we would talk about today.
Maybe this might end up being a two-part video because I don't want these videos to be like super long.
So this video is not super short. It was about 51 minutes long. She is, I guess, planning on doing a part 2. I don't know if that's out by now. Maybe I'll do a second video to this. But this video basically encompasses January through June of 2016. So I'm assuming that she has July through December to follow up on. So we're just looking at the first half of the year, but there is some juicy stuff built into that.
Amberlynn did manage our money very well. I really don't understand how we were able to do everything that we would do, like going out to eat so much, going to Walmart so much, and still being able to pay all of our bills without worrying about anything. But then I also think about, I didn't have a car payment. I don't have a car payment now, but I didn't have a car payment. I only had like insurance, and we had our phone bill, and then rent and water and lights. So it was a lot, but not as much as I think I have now.
I do think this is a pretty impressive quality. Destiny essentially talks about how her and Amberlynn were working at that retirement home. They were each making like $8 or $9 an hour. So, you're not cranking a ton of revenue off of that. And she said that their apartment prior to most utilities was like $1,000. So I'm sure that they were very tight for money for the most part. And I feel like we don't really see Amberlynn. I mean, she buys frivolous stuff a lot now, but she's also not like, she buys frivolous junk. So instead of buying, I don't know, Gucci handbags or something like that, she's buying cheap garbage for $5. So it's like, it's useless stuff because she's not going to use it and it goes to waste. But versus spending $3,000, she's spending $300. So it's like, you can see it from there, and obviously she spends so much money on food, it's preposterous. But I do want to say, it's kind of impressive. That's one aspect. She hasn't really ever seemed too destitute for too long. She has been very fortunate to have people to help her out along the way, however. Another aspect of it all is just the fact that during this time, she only had between 2,000 and 5,000 subscribers, which is still pretty decent. Like, I certainly can't make a career off of this at this point, but it's, and this was 2016. I don't even know how the monetization was set up back then, but she probably can make some money off of that. Probably not enough to live off of, but it's a decent start.
Amberlynn did have a very bad attitude, just in general. Just with anything, like if she wasn't kind of getting her way, if it just wasn't going the way she wanted to do it. Like, this was as long as I've known her. not just when we were together and even after. So
it's very refreshing to have somebody in the Amberverse be able to actually comment on Amberlynn Reid, because for the most part it's just people like me yelling into the void about our opinions about how she behaves and the things she does. But to have somebody actually within it comment on it and affirm the fact that yes, Amberlynn Reid is a my way or the highway type of person, and she probably gets really grumpy and upset and pouts if she doesn't get her way. That would be my assumption. It's not said here. That's what I would assume. I do want to say I didn't come into the Amberverse until right before Becky showed up. So I'm more interested in Becky spilling the tea if that ever comes to fruition, because I feel like there's a lot more drama, because Amberlynn has progressively declined since then. So I feel like there's a lot more drama and information we could suck out of Becky than what Destiny will probably tell us.
And we went to Walmart incredibly too much. I really don't understand why we went to Walmart so much. It's ridiculous. And then about me riding the carts in Walmart, I rode them when I was with her because she was embarrassed riding them by herself. So she would make me ride one too to make her feel better.
I think the problem with the carts situation type deal was always whether or not Amberlynn needed to ride the carts. I don't know if that's confirmed. Destiny mentions her having some sort of lower leg issue that she deals with. So maybe that's a component to it. But like, even still, you can stand up and say, it would be so much more beneficial for Amberlynn if you would just say, no, I'm not going to ride the cart. And then if Amberlynn says, well, we're not going to go to Walmart, then it's a win-win. You didn't want to go to Walmart because you were confused as to why you were always going there. And it also helps prevent Amberlynn from buying useless garbage and more food to eat. So it's like, it's this balancing act that I feel like a lot of her partners have gotten into about how they should test the landmines in the field of Amberlynn Reid. And it's like, just be more stern with her. And then maybe she'd actually change.
She goes through a vegan phase. It didn't last very long, and towards the end of it, she was just eating Fritos and Oreos because technically they're vegan.
I mean, that's always classic. That's classic. I remember hearing that Oreos were vegan however long ago. And I mean, I don't associate with a ton of people that are vegetarian or vegan, mostly because it's just like it makes your social circle really hard to accommodate. But I have heard from them that, yeah, Oreos were a big deal. They were a big deal. However, I mean, it's obviously funny because in theory, when people think of eating vegetarian or vegan, it should be a lot more organic, natural foods. It doesn't turn out that way a lot, because a lot of the foods, I feel like, you still see fat vegetarians and fat vegans, and that's just because they're eating a bunch of processed garbage at the same time. So it's like, yeah, okay, you're not eating animal products or whatever, but it's still a bunch of chemicals and stuff that are just being pumped into your body. So who knows? I'm not here to preach about anything. If you're doing it for your own cause, who really cares?
We talked about Libby's age and the relationship we had with her. I know some people try to say that Amberlynn had a thing for Libby. She did not see Libby like that. They were just very close. Amberlynn did get some kind of infection in her eye because she shared makeup with Libby. I guess that was important. It
was the dumbest thing. I'm not even a girl. I don't know a whole lot of girl stuff. I would say that outside of my relationships in real life, Amberlynn might be the closest thing to understanding the female psyche that I have. As horrible as that is to say, not a great role model. But even I know it's like, you clearly shouldn't be sharing makeup because you're like mixing your bacteria and your oils between each other. That's really dumb. And then I'm sure Amberlynn was questioning as to why she was feeling bad and getting sick and having pink eye and all that. It's really dumb. The whole thing with Libby, I feel like, at least from my perspective of it, is like, I thought it was more weird that they were hanging out with a 15-year-old consistently and were like like, it was just like the way that they filmed her sometimes was just like off-putting and weird and uncomfortable. That's my gripe with the whole thing. I didn't pick up on anything outside of that.
And then the bra scandal. I don't think she even has these bras anymore. But the bras that you guys would always give her crap for wearing, she only had 2 of them. I don't remember how many she said she had, but she had 2 of the same exact bra because it was the only one that she liked and it fit her, whatever it was. She had them for a long time.
The bra scandal is always so funny. You know, everybody would always claim that she was stinky and smelly because she just wore the same bra all the time, and it comes out that there were only 2 of them. And you know, I don't think we were ever seeing her free balling it out there. So it's like, I know you can wear them. And, you know, once again, this is me stepping outside of my own breadth of knowledge. But, you know, you can wear it. It's like pants in a sense. You can wear it a couple times. But, you know, for somebody as large as Amberlynn, I'm sure she was sweating a ton. So it's like, I'm sure it wasn't smelling super good. So I don't know, maybe reconsider that choice. And I guess she might have already done that by now.
I think this is when Amberlynn had talked about, I think someone asked her about who she would want to propose, like if she wanted to or if I wanted to, and she was saying hopefully I would want to. I never proposed to her because we literally fought so much and I wasn't sure if we would ever truly be happy together, like, because there was just so much fighting and tension, obviously off camera. We'd have good times, but the bad times were starting to outweigh the good times.
Geez, I wonder why they broke up, and I wonder why Amberlynn was so attached to this relationship. It feels a little bit, you know, I hate the word toxic. I don't want to say the word toxic, but it certainly feels like a strained relationship where it's like, Amberlynn was acting a fool, and I'm not exonerating Destiny, but in Amber's head, it probably seemed like she was living a perfect relationship while Destiny thought it was horrible and awful, and Amberlynn was just completely blind and oblivious to the fact that all these fights were tearing away the walls of the relationship until it ultimately crumbled. But it doesn't surprise me. I feel like it would be really hard to be in a relationship with Amberlynn, outside of the fact that I'm a man and straight and would never date her. Outside of that fact, it's just like she's manipulative and she's probably gross and she is just like strong-arming everything. It just, my personality and hers would just never line up with each other.
This is also when she started making her soup chili, everything in a pot goulash stuff. I did not ever really try these. That was gross.
She kept doing that with Becky too, and that stuff was always so gross. She would just mix like the most random ingredients together. It's just, it's not for me, dog. That's gonna be a no from me.
Amberlynn did not shower the whole time we were at my mom's. She did not like the bathtub. She refused to even try to get in. I think she was having a hard time getting her leg over it. It was the thing because it is pretty high sides. And she just basically, you know, whore bathed. She just, you know, she washed her hair. I'd help her wash her hair over the shower. And she just kind of washed with washcloths and wore plenty of deodorant. That's what she did.
That's really gross. I don't know how long they were staying with her mom in Kentucky. I don't know if it was for an extended period of time, multiple months. Either way, just doing like a sponge bath per se is not gonna work over time. It works for people that are in like the hospital and stuff because they're not moving around. They're staying stationary in a mostly bacteria-free environment. But like, you're not going to be able to cleanse yourself as well without running water or being able to scrub more thoroughly through water. This whole thing is just like, I mean, it was suspected for the longest time that she doesn't shower because she would wear the same clothes over and over and over again. Her hair would look greasy and all that stuff. But like, you can get a step stool to step into the bathtub. Maybe her fear was climbing back out. I don't know. This whole thing, that's not bueno. And especially coming from Destiny's point of view, it's like, nobody wants to be the caretaker for their partner. Like, I don't want to have to wash my girlfriend unless completely necessary. But if it's her own inflicted faults, it makes it exponentially worse to have to take care of that. I don't know. That's really gross.
This is also around the time my mom and Amberlynn start getting into a lot of spats about stuff. They started arguing quite a bit. Amberlynn's she's very set in her way or no way kind of deal. I don't know. That's just she doesn't care, like, if she disrespects you, basically. Like, she really just does not care to have respect. Like, we were at my mom's house living with her, and she still was, like, I don't know, if it had been the other way around, I was not going to try to argue with her mom, like, it was like a respecting your elders kind of thing. Even though you're not a child, you should still respect your elders. And my mom was also very stubborn and very argumentative as well, so it was a lot.
So basically, Amberlynn is just a bratty girl who just has no concern for anybody else. I said it before, my way or the highway type of person. But it's also the aspect of, if you're living with somebody else, regardless of their relationship with you, regardless of their age, you have to humble yourself in this situation, and you sort of have to understand that you are in somebody else's home, and whatever they say, you have to follow by. And that obviously becomes a more difficult thing the older you get, because you want your own autonomy and all that. But like, ultimately it comes down to the fact, well, you're living with them, what choice do you have? And it just, Amberlynn, I'm sure it would just make me uncomfortable if I were Destiny too, because it's like, well, obviously I'm going to take my mom's side, but it's like I'm stuck in between you two because you're going to keep fighting about it, and nobody wants to be stuck in that.
When she started doing the mukbangs, when my mom was around, my mom really just didn't understand it, and I think they got into spats about it sometimes. So I think that's why she ended up only doing it basically when she was home alone, or if it was just me and her or whatever. I noticed a lot too that Amberlynn in her mukbangs will be like, well, I don't really like this that much, but then continues to eat it anyway and eat like a lot of it. Like, I'm like, if you don't like it, I don't know about you, but when I don't like something, I'm not going to touch it again. I'm not even going to attempt to be like, well, it's food. No. She announced that she only weighed 480 pounds at this point.
Destiny is just preaching the truth at this point. And it's very true that it's so perplexing why she would say, oh, I don't like this food. This isn't for me or whatever. She's not a food reviewer, which is slightly different. But I think it's also the fact that Amberlynn can feel the social pressure of her doing a mukbang, in the sense that people are going to obviously criticize her, which is why her mom probably thought it was weird, because she is a morbidly obese person eating a lot of food that seems counterintuitive if you claim to be a weight loss channel. But at the same time, it's in the sense that she's saying that she doesn't like the food to try and deflect the mukbang itself. So it's like, oh, I didn't even really like this food. It's like, I feel like I've done this in the past where it's like, oh, I'm not a psychologist. I can't explain it too much, but the whole premise of it is very weird. And the fact that they were able to put up with this for so long is shocking to me.
She says at some point that we're going to take the cats to the vet, and that we had taken Wasabi to the vet. I never took these cats to the vet. Wasabi came with his shots, and with Jax, I think once he was with me and Dana, I went to the feed store and got his shots and just did them myself.
I don't know. This feels like a he said, she said type of thing. Maybe Destiny just didn't remember. That's one aspect of this whole thing. I don't know how in the hell she's remembering something that happened 7 years ago. She has it all like written out. I can't remember things I did like a week ago or a month ago. Like, yeah, I can remember like big highlight points from years ago, but how am I supposed to remember minutia details? That seems preposterous to me.
Amberlynn didn't want to get a real job. She only wanted to do YouTube. I don't know, we just kind of went back and forth on it a lot, but then she really ended up liking the job that we were going to have, so she ended up taking it, obviously.
In Amberlynn's defense, doing YouTube full time, especially with what she does, would be a dream scenario. I spend way more time putting out content than she does, and yeah, I put in several hours every single day on it, but it's not like too straining. I can't imagine how little amount of time she puts into her stuff. She just documents stuff that she does every day anyway. It's like, yeah, no wonder she wants to live that lifestyle. It's awesome.
You also see her vlogging in the car a lot without me being in there. It's because we would go to, it didn't matter if it was Walmart, whatever store we were at. When we were done shopping and we were deciding to leave, it was me at the checkout with everything and her going to the car and sitting and waiting.
This is the perfect way to end this first part because it just shows how horrible Amberlynn is. She only uses these partners as ways for her to navigate around and get the things that she wants. She'll go to the store with Destiny and they'll buy stuff and Amberlynn will just go sit in the car. It's like, it's preposterous to me. It's so rude. It's like, when I go shopping with people, it's not even that I expect them to help me carry things or anything like that. It's more of a, well, if you agreed to go shopping with me, and in their sense, I'm sure they're buying things for both of them to use, but even if it's just independent, it's like if you're coming along and you decide to just leave, I assume you don't want to hang out with me, right? I assume you're just being rude because you don't like me that much. And that's how I would have interpreted it. It also would come off as just super condescending and mean, you know? And obviously Amberlynn is a mean, bad person. So, I don't know. It's very on point to finish off this first part with it. If you guys enjoyed this video, let me know if I should react to the second part of this. Either way, I hope you enjoyed. I will talk to you guys soon. Peace.